Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Master Chief Collection tutorial on the Halo Forge epidemic. My name is Paint, and this video is going to be covering the 4 infection modes present in the Halo 2 Anniversary section of the Master Chief Collection, and more specifically, how to set them up in Forge. And I'm hoping this is going to clear up any confusion with setting your maps up for infection. So out of the 4 game modes, which are Infection, Hunted, Cadre, and Flight, there's actually only one game type that requires a different kind of more advanced setup, and that game type is Flight, which is the linear or campaign style infection mode shipped with the game, and it's also what you guys are looking at right now, of course in a very simplified version to make it easy to understand. But as you can see, one of the survivors will take the bomb, which in infection is called a payload, and that one survivor will have to bring the payload to the different zones around the map until getting to the last one and winning the game. Now there are things you can add to this, like havens and different payload settings, and that's something we'll get a little bit more in depth on later on. But one thing I did notice about the payload is you don't have to be holding the payload in the zone to run the timer down. You can actually drop or throw the payload into the zone, but the catch is that it will make the timer run down at half speed, which of course makes the payload timer take longer. So really cool stuff. Now I'm going to take you through the Flight game types step by step at the end of the video, but for starters, let's just look at setting up a default infection map. Now keep in mind, and this is really important to remember, the following setup is going to work for Cadre, Hunted, and Standard Infection, and the setup I will show you after that is for Flight. So as you can see here, I'm setting up a default infection map. So the first thing I want to do is lay down my survivor initial spawns. So place down a default initial spawn and then change the team to defenders. Now defenders are survivors and attackers are infected. The next thing you got to do is change the game type label to infection spawn, and you also want to add that game type label to a few defender respawns, just in case there is joining in progress added to customs at a later date. And also keep in mind you should have about 14 or 16 initial survivor spawns. I obviously don't have that, but that's what you need to make sure you have enough spawns for a 16 player lobby. And after that, place down initial spawns for the infected. So same thing, except this time it's going to be the attacker's team, but it is the same game type label used for that. Again, infection spawn label, and that is literally all you need to do to set up an infection map, with the exception of, actually making the map first. So now, moving on to the Flight game type, you'll want to give all of the respawns a different label this time, and that label is infection flight spawn. So apply that to every single spawn, including survivor initial spawns and respawns, and infected initial spawns and respawns. The next thing you need to do is have a flight payload spawn. So to do that, you want to place an assault bomb spawn piece from the objectives category, and after that change the advanced properties so that the label reads infection flight payload spawn, and this is of course where your payload will initially spawn. So the last thing left to do is place your payload zones. So to do that, go to objectives category and then go to zones and spawn a generic zone. Then go into the advanced properties tab and change the label to infection flight payload capture point. And that's it, guys. That's all it takes to set up an infection map. So I'll be covering some of the game options for infection in a different video soon. But until then, thanks for watching, and bye-bye.